Hey everybody, welcome! I know there are a lot of you out there who already know how to build a decent sorting machine in Minecraft, but I also know there's a lot of you newbies out there who don't know how to do it and are itching to learn how to build a system like this. Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. Plus, I'm also going to show you how to configure the system in several ways that may meet your specific needs. First of all, let me say right up front that I take no credit for this design. This design is by Impulse SV, I believe, and I have to say it is an awesome design. It's compact, it's tileable, and works really well. If you look in my inventory, you're going to see the basic requirements to build this. It uses very little resources. So let's go ahead and talk through it. So first of all, notice that each of these slices are built underneath a hopper chain. So we're going to use that hopper chain as our reference point. So if the chain is running directly over our heads, let's look down and we're going to count off 3 blocks. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to set our first inert block. And then we put our repeater in place, and we'll go ahead and place the rest of the blocks. Oops. And it's a pretty basic configuration, very easy. Alright, then place your comparator in its default position. Okay, then place your redstone. 1, 2, 3. And then your redstone torch. So let's go ahead and set our chest in place. Go ahead and break your helper block there. Put your hopper going into it, and then we're going to use the ethereal powers of creative mode. And then you can place your hopper, this second hopper right here, it doesn't really matter whether it faces backward or forward toward the chest. Just don't have it facing in a direction to the left or to the right, if that makes sense. Don't have it facing parallel with the hopper chain above it. Now this hopper right here is key to the system. Now notice your hopper has 5 open slots. So we're going to fill 4 of those slots in positions 2 through 5. Now you have a choice here. You can pick a block that is extremely unlikely to be fed into the system, and I don't mess with coral at all, so in creative mode you could just slap some coral in there. Or if you're sticking strictly to survival mode, which most of you will be, then my recommendation is to take a stack of cobblestone, bring it over to your anvil, and then give it a name. Give it a unique name that won't be confused with anything else in the game. So I would just say, let's say, filter block. Okay, so now that you've got your filter element, take it and put 1 block each in positions 2 through 5, and then whatever item that you wish to pass through it. So let's say we're going to sort redstone. So go ahead and put 41. Go ahead and put 41 of that item in place, and then you'll see you should now be ready to go. We're going to put some redstone in this hopper right here, and it should be caught. There we go. It should be caught. And there we go, it's appearing into this chest. And that's what we want. So there you go. Now that's how you build the system. That's how you build 1 slice of your sorting machine. Super easy, isn't it? Now, as with any design, there's more than one way to skin a cat. For example, I have 1 chest used here, but you're more than welcome to add another chest to it to turn it into a double chest. That will work just fine. Also, there's several configurations, there's several ways to configure your chests. Number 1, a single chest. Now, it can be, when I say single chest, I'm simply saying there is just 1 chest it feeds into. Now that could be a single chest or a double chest, that's your choice. But the key being, there's 1 hopper that feeds into it, 1 chest, and that's all there is. Now number 2 is probably the most popular configuration that people will use in Minecraft, and that is multiple chests in series. Now again, We can use single chests or double chests. I'll go ahead and slap on the extra capacity there just to make life easier for you. But more than likely, this is what you're going to want. Now, this is a very simple configuration. It simply involves adding additional hoppers and chests under the original chest. So as you can see, we've got the original, and we've just simply thrown another chest and another hopper under here. So you can look into this chest, get whatever you need out of the system, and you can walk away from the system, and once this chest and hopper fills up, then this chest and hopper will receive the components and will store it for you. Anything taken from this chest will be replaced by items in this chest coming down through the hopper to fill it, you know, gravity feeding everything downward. So more than likely, this is probably going to be the design you want to go for. Let's get rid of the ring. Now, the advantage to this system is that no matter how much is stored in it, but whether it's 2 layers or 25 layers or 100 layers, you can go to the lowermost chest and access whatever's in it. Everything will go to the lowest chest. So it can be as big as you want, and you just have to go to one place to get it. Now, a disadvantage to this system is you do have to stagger the chests and hoppers, offset them from each other, and that takes up a little extra space. You can mitigate that by reversing and going in the other direction, but there still needs to be an offset somewhere. Now, the number 3 configuration is chests and hoppers in parallel. Once again, we'll add the extra chest for reference. But as you can see, it's a little bit different. In this case, we've got hoppers stacked on top of each other, and we can add a 3rd layer here, oops, and all of them will look like this. However, they're in parallel. They do not feed downward as the system in series does. You cannot go to the lowest chest and access anything in the system. If you empty this chest out, all the chests above it will still maintain their contents. They won't feed downward. But it does have the advantage of being more compact. Plus, it can be used in scenarios where you need to supply whatever you're filtering to a couple different locations. For example, let's say you've got a bamboo farm, and on that bamboo farm you've got a flying machine that harvests the crop, and all of the harvested bamboo is picked up by, say, a hopper cart traveling underneath, and that hopper cart takes all that harvested bamboo to a storage system. So notice in this storage system we've got the hopper line feeding into a single chest, and that chest feeds to 2 locations. One, it feeds the hopper cart for the auto smelting system, but it also feeds into a chest where we can just pick the contents out and use them for construction or whatever else we might need. So there again, that was the parallel system. That's the chest in parallel. Now here we have another configuration, and this is a modification that you can make to any of the previous systems, and it just simply involves adding a hopper underneath the last chest and then smacking a shulker box on it. Now what will happen there is we take the contents, whatever's in this chest will be fed into the hopper, into the shulker box. And then let's say we've got a system set up where we take the contents of the shulker box, and then it might be potatoes or something that we trade with villagers, or we just want to filter stuff out. Let's say cobblestone that we might, or stone or whatever, that we might use for a building project later. So we can just then take the shulker box, and then it's there for us if whatever we decide to do with it. See, it's got our stone in there and everything. Now, when you set up these sorting machines, when you set up these tiles, it's going to look something like this. And they can range from just 2 at a time to a whole line of them. But notice that all the redstone circuits kind of feed together into one mass grid. Now, the way this system works is that when a hopper fills up with items, it starts to output a redstone signal, and that signal strength is based on how full that hopper is. And you notice there are 45 items in this hopper. In each of these hoppers there are a total of 45 items. Now, as soon as we stick a 46th item in there, it drops one of its contents and brings it down to 45. Now with each item that goes into the hopper, this signal gets stronger and stronger. So notice, if we max out the item in this filter, we get a slightly stronger signal. You can see it there. You can actually see it. But it doesn't have any influence on the filters around it. They're connected, but it doesn't influence it until it eventually goes down to 41, and then we're back down to our 45 item minimum, and it stays there. And that's how these filters work. But that's well and good if you're trying to filter an item that there's plenty of, like beetroots, potatoes, carrots, cobblestone, whatever you can think of. These are things that are easy to come by, so therefore it's no problem to have 41 of those items in the filter, because they're just going to stay there. You don't, in order for this to function properly, you're committing that those 41 items, plus the 4 filter elements, you're committing those items. You've lost them. They're lost to you. You need them to stay where they're at for this to function properly. And if we're talking beetroot, potatoes, carrots, it doesn't matter. That's fine. But what if we were talking about iron ore? What if we're talking about diamonds or emeralds? You know, 41 is quite an investment. I don't know that I would want to part with 41 bits of iron ore, at least not in the games I'm running right now. So there's another way to skin this cat too. So we can actually set up an alternate configuration. So what we can do is we can, let's say, put 1 iron ore in the first position. And then, so now we've got 5 positions filled. We've got all 5 positions filled, but we've only got 5 items in there. So let's put an additional 40 items to bring it up to that 45 minimum. And then there we go. Now this will still function, so if we take, let's put it in this one just for safe. And now we should see, actually, it might have gone to the, okay, it goes to the one below it. You will also see that in this design, you have the 41, but then there's one that kind of hangs out below as well. And you don't have to worry about it, but just understand that you are going to lose an additional one in the hopper below the filter hopper. So we've got 2. So let me go ahead and add another one. And now we should find it here, and it works pretty much the same, but there is one disadvantage to this system. Remember, I told you that the more items that are in this hopper, the greater the redstone signal will be that it produces, and that can be a problem. Notice that in this one, if we max this out, so basically it's 45 items plus an additional, so we got 64, and then it comes to a total of 68 items maximum are possible in that hopper. And this will go down to 41. That's fine. Now the reason this might ever get above 41 is if the chest and hoppers below it become full. So the system starts to overflow. Then this would climb up to 64 and stay there, and we'd have a total of 68 items in this hopper, and it would put out a stronger redstone signal, but still safe for the system. Now in this case, if the system below it were to overfill, we would have 41, 2, 3, 4, 5 total, and that 45, and now add an additional 63, so that comes to 120 or 108. My math is serving correctly. So imagine this hopper starts to overfill. So let's go ahead and just throw a whole bunch of iron ore in here. Look how strong that redstone signal is, and look what's happening here. The signal is so strong that it's causing the adjacent filters to dump their products, to dump their contents. That's a bad thing, because then these filters will stop working. And see, let's go ahead and dump some more in there and see what happens. Oh, and look at that. These completely dumped. How about this one? This is on its way. So the signal is so strong from this hopper that it's actually causing the systems around it to fail. So if you ever have to troubleshoot your filter system, that's why they fail. This is a huge disadvantage to this system. Yes, you only have to have 1 item here, but if it overfills, any adjacent systems will be overwhelmed, and they'll stop working. It will break the system, as they say. If you must do this, now here's something to consider. If iron ore is that valuable to you, there's a really good chance it's not going to overfill anyway, but it still could. Okay, so I've put everything back where they go. So now this system is set up for bulk sorting and storage. And let this represent your system. And this is where you've got all your bulk storage, your cobblestone, your veggies, and anything else that you want to store lots of. And then over here, separated by at least one space, is the slice of your storage system that will sort out, let's say, your iron ore or your diamond ore or whatever. So this could go into, say, an auto smelter or something like that. But if, on the off chance that this does overflow, highly doubtful since iron ore is a valuable thing, but in case it does, the effects will be isolated. It's not going to bleed over into these other slices, into these other portions of the sorting machine. So this should set you up for success. Alright guys, well that concludes this tutorial. Thank you for learning from me today. I hope you found it informative. I hope you learned something new. And if you really enjoyed this content, please, again, I appeal to you, please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button. It helps me out, lets me know that you want to see more of this and that it was indeed helpful for you. Feel free to leave your comments down below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Ciao.